welcome to the Remembrance Assembly, a key part of our calendar, as you know, and a key part of our culture as we go forward. It's lovely to see the whole school together, and these events are really key for us as we come together to remember those who are serving and those who have served to protect the freedoms that we live and work in. I am extremely privileged to introduce to you this morning a number of guests who have come to support us today and to talk to you about the experiences and why today is such an important day. We have a number of our school governors with us today supporting the event, and our parent focus group, and our Deputy Mayor, Alan Jones, the Deputy Mayor of Newton Abbot, who has come to support today, and a number of Armed Forces veterans, John White and Michael Payne, who I'll introduce to you in a second, who are going to talk to you, Catherine Robinson, Christine Rutter, Judy Wilson and Nigel Wilson, all of whom today is clearly a very significant day in their calendars. Mike Brewer is also here. You'll remember Mike from last year, I'm sure, to play the last post as we pay our respects during our silence. Thank you all so much, all around me. It's fabulous to have so much support today and time out of your busy schedules to support our Remembrance Assembly. I'm going to introduce again then John White and Michael Payne, who are going to speak to you about the experiences that they've had and why today is such an important day.
Well, good morning. All particularly well behaved. I'm sure you're not always like that, are you? Thanks for having us in. Thanks for inviting us. My name's Mike. I'll introduce you to John in a second. John and I both served in the Royal Marines together. We were very lucky. We sort of experienced some pretty exciting times in the Royal Marines, travelling all over the UK, all over the world, in the desert, in the jungle, cold weather, extreme cold weather in the Arctic, and operations in Afghanistan. And it was a pretty amazing career that we both had, and we'll hear more from John in a second. I left the Marines about 4 years ago. I left for reasons due to family sacrifices, and I wanted to sort of spend more time with children. But I was very lucky to spend 3 years with Help for Heroes, a charity. And one of the projects I worked on at Help for Heroes was a project called Poppies at the Tower. Anybody heard of that? Anybody, hands up if you've heard of Poppies at the Tower. It happened 2 years ago, and there were a lot of poppies planted in the moat of the Tower of London. Does anybody know how many poppies were planted? Put your hands up if you know. Okay, I'll tell you, it was 888,246. And each one of those poppies represented a British fatality in the First World War. 888,246. Huge numbers of people just from the UK that were killed in that one conflict. The Second World War brought with it another huge number of people who were killed. About 450,000 people were killed in the Second World War, just from the UK alone, British and military. And since then, we've been involved in conflict from that point until the current day without really any respite. We've been involved constantly. Kenya, Aden, Malaya, where my grandfather lost his life, Borneo, Northern Ireland, more recently for 30 years, the Falkland Islands. We've been embroiled in conflict for a very long time, and the last decade with Iraq and Afghanistan has been incredibly busy as well. 456 people lost their lives in Afghanistan alone. Now, so with those numbers, it's incredibly important that we all pay our respects and spend a moment remembering a huge loss of life for those who serve their country so we can all live the way we do today. But it's also worth remembering those who didn't lose their lives but still bear the scars of war. And that's why I introduce you to John White, who will talk about his experiences.
Good morning, and thank you for having me all here today. So what I'd like everyone to do first is just close your eyes. Just go with me, close your eyes, otherwise this isn't going to get too weird. And we're just going to use our imaginations a little bit. What I want you to imagine is that you are flying through the air. You're flying through a grey dawn sky and everything's gone into slow motion. And then you have the words go through your head, "Oh God, it's me." Yeah, we're not having a dream here. What we're doing is having a nightmare. And this is the nightmare that I actually experienced 6 years ago when I stood on the bomb in Afghanistan. Please open your eyes. So, as you can probably see, that bomb, that explosion left me missing both my legs above the knee and my right arm above the elbow. And the first thing I want to tell you now is that actually I live a very happy life, a very happy and good life. And what I'm going to do is just spend a few minutes now letting you know how that is possible. And I'm going to do it through 3 or 4 phases. And so the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is challenging yourself. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is gratitude and guilt. And then the final thing I'm going to talk to you about, I've just completely forgotten, so I'll come back to it when I get there. Okay, so first thing, challenging yourselves. Obviously, I woke up back in Birmingham in the UK, having been in a coma for 3 days, and I wake up and I'm missing both my legs and my arm. And I had 2 choices really. I could either roll over and die, just give up on life, or I could get up and get on with life. And so with the support of my then girlfriend, my family and my friends, that's what I decided to do, get up and get on with life. And what I did is set myself lots of little goals. And so I ended up discharging myself from hospital after just 27 nights. By 9 weeks post-injury, I was wearing my first set of prosthetics, just very basic ones. By 9 months post-injury, I was becoming proficient on legs very similar to the ones you see me wearing today. And it took me about a year before I was at the stage where actually I could give up using a wheelchair and I could just live a very normal life. And so as I said, small challenges all the way. At that point I decided what I really needed was quite a big challenge to set my sights on. And so I set myself 2 goals. One was to build a house for my wife and I, and the second one was to complete the Devizes to Westminster kayak race. Now, for those of you that probably have never heard of it, it's one of the most renowned kayak marathons in the world. It's 125 miles long and to be done in one go over Easter weekend every year. Now, what you need to bear in mind, this is kayaking. I've only got one arm intact and I'd already had a shoulder reconstruction on it, so it wasn't much good. And my wife who I was going to do it with had never even kayaked before, so this seemed like a stupid challenge. But we decided that's what we needed to do. Well, as we started training, thankfully my wife fell pregnant and so she couldn't do the race, so a good friend jumped in the boat with me. And we turned up on the start line for this race, 125 miles long, and me and my friend Lee had only done 119 miles total, all our training together total 119 miles, so we hadn't even covered the race distance. We just decided to get up and get on with it. And we absolutely went for it. By the end of the first day, or 12 hours, we were on target. We were only a couple of minutes behind Sir Steve Redgrave, who was doing it, an Olympian, 5 times gold medalist. So we thought we were doing pretty well. But as the evening set in, we started to slip our pace. And at midnight, we were told there was no way we could make the end of the race. But at that point, when we were told that, we actually just got pretty upset and angry with everyone, and we decided to increase our pace from an average of 4 miles an hour to 6 miles an hour. And we ended up just scraping in by minutes. We completed the race in 28 and a half hours. And as I said, this really was an impossible dream for me, doing this kayak race with one arm. The way we did it was by following 3 simple rules. These are the rules of kayaking, and they were taught to me when I was about your age at school by one of my teachers. Rule 1 is keep paddling. Rule 2 is keep cool. And rule 3 happens. When it does, refer to rule 1. These rules haven't just got me through that kayaking race, they've actually got me through my whole life up until that point. I simply changed the word paddling for going. Keep going, keep cool. Happens when it does, keep going. And that's my first message for you today. Whatever happens, whatever life throws at you, just keep going. But one of the keys for me to be able to do that was the fact that I've always challenged myself. And so I would encourage you to go out and find challenges that you can do. Because every time you choose to challenge yourself, what you're doing is building a resource that later on in life you'll be able to use when life throws a challenge at you unexpectedly. And those challenges will come. So go out and challenge yourself. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was guilt and gratitude. And I just remembered what the third thing was, by the way. No, I haven't. I've forgotten again. The next thing was guilt and gratitude. So the first thing is, Mike talked about all the people who died over all of those wars. And there's obviously a lot of people injured, left like me and worse. And it'd be really easy to feel guilty for them, to feel sorry for them, to be angry at the fact that those wars happened. But here's the big secret to how I live in happiness now. Believe it or not, I don't regret what happened to me. I actually have a picture of the man that used to supply all the bombs in the area that we worked. I'd met him, I'd shaken his hand, I can tell you his name was Mahmoud Saeed. But I don't feel any resentment towards him whatsoever. And the reason for that is gratitude, because what I've come to realise is we can only ever be here and now because of everything that's happened in our past. I've got two gorgeous children that I absolutely love, and the reality is I don't know whether I would have them or not if this hadn't happened to me. And so there's no point in being angry, and that's what happened to me. I got to a stage where I realised my life was so good. It took about 18 months or 2 years post-injury, but I got to a point where my life was so good, I realised it didn't make sense to be angry. And often when we're angry at other people, we're angry at ourselves too. And so I found a way of letting go of that, forgiving the people that I was angry at, including myself, for the decisions I had made, and being grateful for everything that I did have. Whether it be the lovely house that I built that I now live in, having a wife, having 2 children that I love, having a new career, and lots of other things. And you know what, I think if you were able to have a conversation with any of those people that sacrificed their lives in any of the wars, they wouldn't want you to feel guilty or angry about it. They wouldn't want you to feel sorry for them. All they did, they were happy to do and make those sacrifices for you to be grateful and happy. And so that's my second message for today, is focus on all the things you've got in your life to feel grateful for, and don't feel sorry for people and guilty about what's happened. Just feel grateful, and that'll make you far happier, and that'll make them happy too. And that brings me on to the final thing, which I have finally remembered, which is about service. Obviously, I and Mike and the other people sitting here, we did what we did out of service to the country and out of service to you. And in my career now, I do a lot of work with business leaders, and I speak to some really successful people. They earn a lot of money, all of this sort of stuff. And what I'm learning is, what makes people happiest? It's making other people happy, serving them. It's that sense of well-being about doing something for other people. And so I went into service and I was happy to do it. I was absolutely happy that I have the opportunity to serve you and make you safer, make your lives better in a small way. And that's what I would encourage you to do going forward as well. Find ways that you can serve other people, because that's where you'll get the greatest source of happiness from. Thank you very much.
At the 11th hour of the 11th day in the 11th month, 1918, World War I officially ended. Messages conveyed by this assembly continue to form an important part of the community aspect of our education and highlight the far-reaching implications of days like this. We will never forget the commitment and sacrifices of those who have died and those who continue to serve our country to protect the freedoms that we hold so dear. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn them. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.